Hey, and good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Weather Nerds YouTube channel. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source here. Our motto here is real simple: to keep you prepared and not scared. We don't hype, we don't play that game. We just keep you informed and get you ready should Mother Nature turn for the worse, and that's what we try to do here. Again, if you're new to the channel, I appreciate you checking us out. If you could please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. If you appreciate this report, leave me a comment down below. Give me a big thumbs up. It does help with that thing called the YouTube algorithm, which really doesn't like our channel all that much, so I can use all the help I can get. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Again, let's check out our highs and lows yesterday. 110 degrees was our hot spot yesterday. That was out there in the lovely, lovely Death Valley. And as far as our lows were concerned, well, actually, they just updated this. I got to change. Well, I'll just do this on the fly then. Look at this here. It was actually Davis, West Virginia. I had 27. It was up for a place up in Michigan, but they just updated this. And that is for Davis, 22. Wow, that's what 27 yesterday was the low of Michigan. I forget the place. They just updated it on me. But 22 this morning. This morning was the low in Davis, West Virginia. Just updated. There you go. That's called breaking news information there. That's what you can say about that. All right, anyway, let's go ahead and get into what we're looking at right now. We're looking at some very cool and comfortable temperatures here in the east. You got high pressure here in control. You got a lot of 40s and 50s out here across the east from the northeast all the way down to the south. Got some thunderstorms here in the middle of the country. We'll go ahead and show you these. We got a storm system out here on the west coast, which is providing some rains here across California, Washington State, getting a little wet in there, and also heading into Idaho as well. And a little wet down here in South Florida as well. Looking not too bad out there. We're definitely going to see some big changes coming here over the next 7 days. The middle of the country especially. Summertime is saying not so fast. It's not September 22nd, and we're going to stay hot. And you're going to see what I'm talking about here in just a minute. So let's go take a look right now at Radar Mega here. Kind of looking at some of this rain here over near the Kansas City area. Had a wind gust up here, 50 miles per hour, not too far from Topeka here. Had a personal weather station here, had a 55-mile-per-hour wind gust. So these storms are having a little bit of a punch here. See it back over here toward Manhattan with some pretty good thunderstorms up near Blue Rapids, and some storms kind of getting into Kansas City just in time for rush hour going on. So that's not really a good thing. So just be careful with some brief heavy rains and some thunder and lightning. And there's also going to be some thunderstorms out in the middle of the country that could cause some problems today. Watches and warnings across the country, not looking bad. A couple of foggy areas up here across North Dakota and Minnesota, here across Nebraska. A little bit of windy weather here across Southern California. And we got some flood warnings there across Kansas where they've had some heavy rains in that zone. And not looking too bad for the rest of the country. All right, let's go start out by giving you a quick update on the tropics. Do you know the peak of the hurricane season is officially tomorrow? And I'm going to tell you, all the years I've been doing this, I cannot remember a time where we didn't have at least something we were tracking, either something that was developed, either named storm or some sort of potential, something we're watching. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. And my biggest fear is we're going to pay the price for this later. We still got the whole second half of the hurricane season. I do anticipate things to improve out there between the 15th and 30th, especially with developing La Nina and everything that's going to be going on. Again, here's the peak. We're right up here. This is where we're at. We're right there. So we still got all of this to go through, especially going through the middle of October here. So the whole next month, next 30 days, we'll have to be watched closely as we've just got a tremendous amount, especially in the Gulf. It is so bad out there. Again, here's your La Nina developing. This is getting stronger. This updated here yesterday. And the Gulf and the Caribbean remain on the warm side right now, running above normal. In fact, the anomaly I updated yesterday as well, and this is like off the chart as far as amount of latent heat here in the Gulf. So that's very concerning for me. And the fact that we got this heat dome that's building across the southeast too, that means that northern Gulf, it will not start to cool off here if it's starting to get back in the 90s again up along that northern Gulf Coast, which I see coming in the next week. So not only we're not going to cool off those Gulf waters, the only thing that's saving us right now with the Gulf is the fact we got tremendous amount of wind shear. A lot of upper level winds out there, and that's something that tropical systems do not like. So looking at the satellite imagery out there, we got a couple of waves out here. Got another one coming off the coast. Got another one here. But nothing imminent. So again, you got a very strong jet energy here across the northern Gulf right now. So that's going to keep that not good environmentally to develop anything. However, as we go into after the 15th or so later this month, conditions there look like they're going to improve. In other words, the winds are going to let up. So if anything tropical disturbance goes off, pressures fall, we're going to get that kind of development. So just keep it tuned here. We're going to keep you updated as we get closer through the hurricane season. All right, let's look at the model here, Trent. Here's the eSense ensemble. So again, we're still looking at a Bermuda high that is way off here toward the east. The weakness remains here off the east coast. So anything that's coming in this way, unless it sneaks into the Caribbean, is going to make a turn. All right, so that's going to be, as you can see there, it's trying to develop something here. We were looking at about the third week in September where we thought things, the hazards outlook was kind of hinting at something maybe going on there. We thought we were going to get one last week with Gabrielle, but the dust that's been out there really kicked the snot out of that thing. And it continues to be a bit of a problem out there. So as you take a look at what's going on out there real quick, let me look at that satellite again. Once again, you can see, again, some of that Sahara. It does look a little less. It doesn't look quite as prevalent. Here's a little dust over here. It doesn't look quite as bad as it was looking like a week or so ago. So if the dust starts to settle down, that dry air starts to settle down, those tropical waves will have a better chance of getting across and developing, okay? So we'll continue to monitor this as we go deeper into the month. All right, now on the Pacific side, they do have a tropical storm. This is Keiko out here that's causing an issue. There it is right there, just north of the Hawaiian Islands. There's this, and we got this one here, Mario. That's our next named storm out there in the Eastern Pacific. That looks very likely to develop here very shortly, and looks like that one will move it away. It could get pretty close to the coastline, causing some pretty high seas there along the Mexican coast, but that's about it. Again, this one stays off to the north. And as far as the satellite is concerned out there, let me show you the satellite real quick. That tropical storm does not look all that impressive. This is what's left of that storm right up there as Keiko continues to move away there. And I know they had some high surf there on the north shore of the Hawaiian Islands, but other than that, not looking bad out there. All right, let's go ahead and break down your severe weather alerts here for today. So we're going to look at the Storm Prediction Center over the next 3 days. Looks like, again, the foothills here will be our hot zone here to watch for the next few days for potential thunderstorms and severe weather. We get little impulses of kind of riding out of the Rockies and kind of setting up stuff. So we're going to be watching this zone right in there. Got some storms along the Gulf Coast, storms here across the Great Lakes coming into there, and the Northwest. Going to have a few pop-up thunderstorms there as well. For that, let's take a look at the categorical breakdown here for today. Tornado risk not existent for today. Wind threat, obviously right in that same zone in here. And I'll go zoom in a little bit closer. He's got an idea here who's in the path on this. So Amarillo, obviously, in this, and we're talking to Colby, Kansas, Oakley, Kansas, Meade, Kansas, kind of all into that zone. And let's look at the hail threat here as well for today. Same general zone, right in the same area. So that's what your day one outlook looks like. How about we look at day two? Let's look at tomorrow, going into your Wednesday. Wednesday, just a general thunderstorm threat here across the west and the Gulf Coast, but in a lot of the east looking very dry, looking pretty quiet there. And day three, also just a general thunderstorm threat. So the only day right now for severe weather is today, subject to change as it always does day to day from the Storm Prediction Center. But today looks like that'll be the most prevalent chance for severe weather. How about excessive rainfall? Of course, we've been dealing with that a lot this summer. Not bad. South Florida. Looks like up here to the UP of Michigan, out here west in Oregon, and into Northern California for today. Tomorrow, Oregon, Idaho in there. Again, Florida looking some downpours. And then day three, again, up across Montana, back to Oregon, a little bit here across Colorado and New Mexico, and again, South Florida. But I'm not seeing the yellows, which is the most important thing. When I see yellows, then I start getting a little nervous about any kind of flooding potential there being an issue. So no problems there. Let's talk model data here. Now, what we're going to see here on the models is not a whole lot of big storm systems. The big weather story is going to continue to be this late summer charge and heat that's coming our way. There's a couple of issues I'm seeing with this summer heat. It's going to be hot, but some folks, the dew point won't be as high. So keep in mind that the days are getting shorter. So it will get hot, but it won't last as long, nor will it be as intense as, say, back in July, because obviously the days are getting shorter. The sun angle is not as high in the sky. So that'll be a little bit, I'm trying to be on the positive side here on this hot weather that's coming at us, all right? So right now we're looking at the NAM model here, 3 kilometer. Got a little storm system here off the East Coast kind of going on by here. Some scattered storms here across the Mid-Atlantic going into your Thursday. Obviously, we've got the storm system here on the West Coast coming on through, moving on up. You got the storm system across the Great Lakes bringing some storms. And then, of course, we're going to watch this area right in here for any potential thunderstorms coming into later today. Let me let this thing loop back on through here again. And you'll see we've got a few thunderstorms that may come out. Here's some that's going on right now across Kansas And there's a little bit, just a little bit. See just a couple of individual cells there in that hot zone we're watching, but nothing too widespread. Looks like it's going to be pretty isolated into that zone. So here's our rainfall totals here. Again, looking at your snapshot, we got a couple of hot zones here for heavier rains. We'll go ahead and tour these up a little bit. So we're talking Oregon, Northern California, generally looking at a little over an inch or so rain totals out here across Oregon and in Northern California. Again, some of these storms out in the plains, some brief heavy rains there. The Great Lakes up to Minnesota, Wisconsin, UP of Michigan, back toward Iowa into here in the Midwest, looking at some heavier rains here. Iowa lighting up 3 inches with some of the thunderstorms there. Wisconsin, a little over 2 inches there. And then we got another little hot zone here across portions of Virginia. Look at this, 3 inches plus into Virginia, West Virginia, parts of Maryland and there. But again, a lot of the southeast, the south central portion of the United States, all the way over to the Southern California, looking pretty dry here for the next 60 hours. This takes us into 2 o'clock on Thursday. All right, so now let's take a look at your temperatures. And we're going to continue to stay okay in the east for the most part. What we're going to be watching here for this week is this building heat here in the middle of the country that's going to eventually sneak into the southeast as well, as we kind of get a little bit of a crunch. You got a trough in the west, you got a little troughiness in the east, and we're going to really build that heat in the middle of the country going into our next week. And it looks like above normal temperatures are going to stay with us for the second half of the month. We had September, we had those unusually cool shots come down. Now we're going to see above normal temperatures probably lingering until the end of the month, the way things are progressing from the Climate Prediction Center, which I'll show you that here in just a second. So here again is the latest on the European model here as we're kind of tracking this. And again, no big storm. There's that big storm there on the west coast. You see that kind of coming in. That'll cool things off there in the west. But we're going to continue to see this red. That's your high pressure here in the middle of the country going to stay there. And no big systems. You got one here off the west coast, one here across New England, but the continental United States, it looks like a couple of like weak systems in there, but nothing significant, nothing major to cause any problems. It's just going to be a lot of heat building up again in the middle of the country. So as we go ahead and take a look at the European model here, let me back this off again. That was from my earlier update here. My apologies. Back that up. And overall, we'll go ahead and loop this here for the next few hours. Again, you can see these little disturbances rolling out of the Rockies, bringing some scattered storms. The southeast, it looks like you're going to stay on the dry side here for the most part here. Not until maybe you start getting a little moisture in there as we head toward later in the month. But for right now through the 15th, it looks pretty dry out there. Okay, this is going out to next Tuesday. I don't usually like going beyond 7 days, guys. So, I also noticed a little snow showing up there too. That's pretty interesting. So again, we got what the trend is here. We'll get these little disturbances causing little storms out in the middle of the plains. Obviously, that's where the heat's going to be. Not looking bad across New England. The northwest, there's a storm system there. That one is going into your Saturday. Let me get my timestamp back on for you guys since I reset it. My bad. So again, you can see that coming up into the northeast, going into Sunday. So the northwest going into Sunday, and we got some storms there in the middle of the country going into Saturday. So I would suspect, looking at that and the heat that's going to be there, this is probably a little bit of severe weather potential in with that going into Saturday this week, going into this upcoming weekend. Most of the east looking quiet, no problems there. And then going into your Sunday afternoon, let's check out Sunday afternoon here real quick. Looks like those storm threats will kind of move a little bit off to the east here across the Dakotas, back toward Texas, unsettled across the northwest. But southeast quiet, northeast for the most part looking pretty quiet. And let's go into your Monday afternoon. Again, the high plains continue to see the storms. So a little bit of monsoon moisture may start to work its way back in here across a portion of Mexico, coming into New Mexico, going into early next week as well. And then finally take you out to Tuesday here. Tuesday afternoon, scatter storms here in the middle of the country. Southeast, maybe we start getting some thunderstorms across the mountains again. New England's got a little storm here kind of exiting off the eastern seaboard. So again, no major storm systems to kind of track. I'm actually looking forward to getting more into fall so we can start tracking some real honest to God systems. These weak ones, they're problematic because they change from day to day. So anyway, all right, so let's get into the temperature regimen here. Let me go get into that real quick here. All right, we'll pull this back out. Again, what we're going to be watching is this big heat area that's going to be coming across the middle of the country. You kind of see this. Again, this is for next Tuesday. And look at this. We're talking 102, 100, 101. Again, this is the American GFS. It does tend to be a little bit on the hot side, but I mean, just a big dome of 100-degree temperatures here going into next Tuesday. That is a significant heat wave. You can get some 90s in the south. So cooler out here in the Intermountain West, but this is the big story. So let me back this up here again as I want to go ahead and take you through the weekend. Let's look at your Saturday here. I kind of looked at Friday already, so look at Saturday here. Again, 90s from the Dakotas all the way to the Gulf Coast and the Southeast. And this is where it's going to stay, folks. It's just going to sit there. It's going to park itself there. And there's nothing that's going to kick this out of the way. This is Saturday afternoon, 100-degree temperatures across Iowa into Missouri, just absolute yuck factor of 10, absolutely brutal. And then going into your Sunday afternoon, again, 102, 101, 100 degrees into Illinois. I mean, this is under. We're probably going to set some records with this potentially going into this upcoming weekend, early next week. And I mean, look, there's 5 o'clock on again. We had the heat all the way to Minnesota, getting into the 90s, North Dakota. Look at this. Not bad on the West. Even the Southwest is not that hot by their standards, but the West is looking good. New England's looking good, but a big part of the country, I'd say about 40% of it's going to be looking pretty hot and steamy going into next week. And then we'll take a look ahead. Let's go look ahead. We'll look into Wednesday real quick, see how bad that's looking there. Going into Wednesday. Start to trim away a little bit. There's like a frontal system right here, but still the heat starts to sneak into the Midwest here. Across the Mississippi Valley is going to be absolutely brutal. Southeast is going to be brutal. So again, a lot of heat, folks. So you can just guess what the climate outlook's going to look like. You pretty much know where this is going. So let's go look at your climate outlook here and take you through the next period here, as it's going to stay very much above normal with the temperatures here. There it is, boom, lighting up like a big Christmas tree going into next week. So this is the 14th to the 18th going into next week. Again, we're looking at triple digits in here. We're talking 100-degree temperatures, very hot. A little cooler on the East Coast, but very, very hot going into next week. And that's going to linger going into the 16th to the 22nd. Most of the country looking at above normal temperatures. And, of course, with that heat, we're going to have below normal temperatures in the middle of the country. So we're going to have to monitor the drought conditions across the country, kind of heating up there a little bit there across the Midwest and into the Southeast. And looks like that continues pretty much going into the 22nd. So heat, humidity, drought conditions probably kicking up. I know we got a lot of the farmers are starting to harvest their crops anyway, so at least it's not coming in too late for this drought. But it looks like it's going to stay dry for a lot of the month, except for the areas out in the West. You obviously see out there in the West, they're all those little disturbances we saw coming out, it's lining up pretty good. So I'm in pretty much a good agreement here with the Climate Center. Sometimes I don't agree with what they do, but look at what I'm seeing right now. I pretty much agree with what they're going on out there. Not bad. All right. Anyway, who do we got out there on the chat here for this morning? We got Rita. Good morning, Rita. Edith, good to see you two out there this morning. I appreciate you guys. Just to give you guys a heads up, I'm probably going to be looking to do a complete rebrand. I've been giving a lot of thought, and I've decided I'm going to go ahead and do a complete rebrand of the station, which means I'm going to change the name. I've gone ahead and decided to do this. Probably will do it in October. October 1st will be our second anniversary here on the channel, so probably will change it to something that lines up with my my local channel, which is North Georgia Majestic Weather. It'll just be known as Majestic Weather. Still same report, same philosophy. Just going to rebrand the name a little bit, go to Majestic Weather, and then probably do a little ad buys, a little push for the new name, and continue to drive up from there. I'm really hoping that as my local product grows and I'm able to get some additional funds and I can upgrade my weather capabilities and my systems as far as presentation, that'll bring us a little more on par with my peers out there. And hopefully we can start growing the channel again, because we're kind of stuck and we're kind of bleeding off followers right now. YouTube is, for whatever reason, pretty much dropped us from the algorithm, and I got to figure out a way to try to get that back. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'll do a little research and see how we're going. To see what we can do to get our rating number up a little bit better. Anyway, appreciate you guys checking out the channel. You guys take it easy, and you guys have a great day. Tomorrow, I don't know if I can get this in. I got to take my dad down to Florida. I will try to work it in if I can, but if I can't, I'll be back on Thursday with your update. That'll be my last one I'll do for you guys until I'm back from vacation on the 23rd of September. Taking a nice vacation with the wife, and I'm sure we'll have our counter below 8,300 by that time, because when you don't update YouTube, you basically start bleeding off folks. But oh well, that's okay. Vacation's more important. All right, you guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow. But if not tomorrow, I definitely will see you on Thursday. You guys have a good day.